Any Given Thursday is live here on Chat Sports. Harrison Graham and Chase Sr. back with some more NBA coverage for you guys, the latest NBA news and rumors. And actually just coming in, just to hit it with you guys right off the top, DeAndre Jordan officially going to sign with the Philadelphia 76ers. They will terminate Willie Cauley-Stein's 10-day contract, Chase. So Philadelphia adds a big man to help replace Andre Drummond. We will break that down in further detail as we go. But we're back. We're better than ever. And let's get into it, man. You ready?
Yeah, so the expectation was that Willie Cauley-Stein was probably going to be let go to make room for DeAndre Jordan. He was signed to that 10-day contract last week. We covered it on Philadelphia 76ers Now. And then the move happened when DeAndre Jordan was waived by the Lakers. Sixers had interest in him because he's played for Doc Rivers. He's a pick-and-roll big who could really play well with James Harden. DeAndre Jordan is kind of washed at this point of his career, but as a lob threat, he can still give you something there as a backup center because the Sixers needed a backup behind Embiid.
Some more thoughts and analysis on that and everything around the NBA on today's show. But shout out your city. Let us know where you guys are watching from as we get today's show underway here live from Chat Sports. Let us know where you're rocking from. We're in Dallas. I see a Chicago, Illinois in the chat. Just get your city, your state, your country in there. Let us know where you guys are representing from here on today's show. We got producer Sam riding shotgun with us. He's on the ones and twos. You ready?
It's been a minute, right? I think it's been like a month.
Months.
I was thinking about that yesterday since I've been in the chair with y'all, so
Sam's
more ready than ever.
Let's get it.
I took an extra long water break beforehand to get myself in the zone.
There you go. Just, hold it in for the next 75 minutes or so.
Downey and the draft style.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, favorite all-time player in the NBA. Doesn't have to be current. It can be all-time. Light up the comments on this one as well, and we'll keep it moving here and interact with all of you. Shout out your favorite all-time NBA player. I'm a Dirk guy. Chase is an Allen Iverson guy, being from the Philadelphia area.
Yeah, the answer.
By the way,
gotta go with the answer.
What do you make of these Ja Morant, Allen Iverson comps? I think he's a D-Rose AI hybrid.
I actually think he's I've said this before. He's a combination of Derrick Rose and Russell Westbrook with the athleticism. He's a little bit better of a shooter than those two players, but then around the rim, he has the finishing ability, able to twirl up in the air like a Kyrie Irving.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of my three-headed comp for him.
Well, that's good. That's good. Three good names to be connected to.
Also
There's
Dirk
no doubt
over
about
here.
that. Producer Sam riding with me as a Dirk truther.
I think
Earl Boykins. I haven't heard that name in about 10 years.
I think if you're a Mavs fan, chances are that it's a Dirk thing.
Yeah, maybe 20 years from now it's Luka. Who knows? Time will tell. There's no doubt about that. You can also shout out your favorite NBA team. And coming up in a few minutes, we'll catch you guys up on the latest NBA news and rumors. Lots of team stuff to get into as well. So shout out your favorite player. Shout out your favorite team here in the comments. Levante's in Chicago. We got the Saturday Flight says Grant Hill. Michael Jordan in the chat as well. Levante's also a Bulls fan, so keep that in mind as well as we continue to progress here on Chat Sports. You excited for the playoffs? We got about 20 and some change.
Yeah, about 20 games left. I can't wait because I think the races in the East and the West, they're awesome. With Chris Paul out with the Suns, it's kind of made the West a little bit more wide open. The Golden State Warriors are slumping a little bit, whereas the Dallas Mavericks and the Memphis Grizzlies are really streaking. And then the whole back half end of the West is really up for grabs. And then the East, not many games determining and not really a big gap between the top teams in the Eastern Conference and some of those lower teams in the playoffs.
Which brings us to our next question. Who's going to win the finals? We can kind of go round table here. We got producer Sam with us as well.
Yeah, you're going to love my expert prediction here.
Expert prediction, Sam. Big NBA guy.
I do like the NBA. I'm not acting like I'm an idiot here. Let me pull up the standings here just so I can remember just who's where.
I'm going to go while you're
thinking
in. That. I'm going to go in each conference. I'm going to stick with Phoenix. If Chris Paul gets healthy, I don't like how Golden State is trending. So I'm going to go with Phoenix out of the West, and I'm going to gosh. I don't want to jinx it, Chase.
Just
I'm going to go with the 76ers with Phoenix winning the chip.
You know what?
Chris Paul and James Harden, a couple former teammates who are both desperate for that title. I think Chris Paul finally gets it this year, assuming he gets back and healthy for the playoffs.
There's nothing more I'd love to see than a Sixers berth in the NBA Finals. Haven't seen it since 2001. Right now, I think it's way too early to say that Harden and Embiid are going to lead them through the East, which is really a gauntlet. I think Miami is the team to beat. I think they're the toughest team. They're the most well-coached team with the best coach. And offensively and defensively, they're really well-rounded. And they obviously have the experience that the Sixers don't with the deep playoff run. So I like Miami, but I think the Sixers are in the mix as well.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens on that front. Sam?
I'm gonna go with Philly. A lot of recency bias here. I think if you watch the last 3 games, you're like, yeah,
their
Philly,
offense looks unstoppable.
Philly's kind of the real deal. Yeah, so I'm gonna go with Philly out of the East, and I'm actually gonna go with Golden State out of the West. I don't know, something about just Chris Paul's right hand, his thumb it just kind of worries me. It's the same thing that caused him, or the injuries rather, caused him to miss that series with Houston that Golden State wound up coming back and winning, 5-6 years ago. So I think Golden State gets healthy, and I think they make a run.
All right, we'll see what happens as we get closer and closer to the NBA playoffs. Like Chase said, we got about 20 games and some change to go before we get to mid-April, and playoffs are here. It'll be here in just over a month. Okay, what do we got coming up here off the top here? We're going to get into the latest NBA news and rumors off the top here. A lot of team coverage to break down as well, so stay tuned for all that as we're going to break it all down here on NBA Now by Chat Sports. We got producer Sam rocking with us. He's Chase Sr. I'm Harrison Graham. Stick with us here on NBA Now by Chat Sports. You're watching Any Given Thursday, NBA Now edition. Harrison Graham and Chase Sr. here from Chat Sports. Lots of news, rumors to dissect, around a lot of big names here, Chase. None bigger than Kevin Durant, who returns to the lineup tonight, and the Nets need him desperately as they've been struggling for the past month and a half.
Yeah, working off that, he comes back for the Nets at the right time because the Nets over the last couple of months have not been playing a clean brand of basketball, and you'd like to see what the Brooklyn Nets are at full strength with Kevin Durant now back in the lineup. But as we're about to talk about in a few minutes, we don't know what's going on with Ben Simmons, if he's going to come back, and if he does, when he's going to come back, if he's going to come back at all. But to get Kevin Durant back for Brooklyn, a massive reinforcement. Prior to his injury, you can make the argument he was the best player in the NBA. I think he's the most deadly offensive player when he is upright and healthy. And before he got injured, he was playing fantastic basketball prior to missing the past month with that knee injury. 29-plus points per game, 7.5 rebounds, a little less than 6 dimes. And KD, with volume, has always been one of the most efficient offensive players in the league. And I can't wait to see what Brooklyn is able to do with him at full strength. And if Ben Simmons is another addition to the Nets, it makes them really interesting in the East because I actually think Ben Simmons on that roster is a very good fit because he's an elite defender, very good passer. And even if he doesn't want to shoot the basketball, he doesn't have to on that team with Kyrie Irving and KD.
And yeah, we'll certainly get you guys caught up on what's going on with Simmons specifically here in just a few moments. Here's what KD had to say about re-entering the lineup for Brooklyn. Quote, "I don't look at myself as a savior, but I know what I can do and how much I can help this team and what we're missing as a group. But I'm not saying to go out there and win a game by myself tonight or make it all about me. I just try to go out there, help be a good teammate, do what I do. I know what I bring to the table and try to do it to the best of my abilities."
Yeah, and KD coming back to the Nets makes the Eastern Conference even crazier, Harrison, than it already is. I mean, there is not a large gap between the top team in the East and some of the teams that are even in the play-in tournament. And when you look at the Eastern Conference and you gander at the standings, I'm not sure who's going to come out of the East. I like the Miami Heat. I like the Milwaukee Bucks. Really love the Philadelphia 76ers with the addition of James Harden because that two-man game with Joel Embiid has been dominant. And then Tyrese Maxey has been a fantastic third component. But they have some flaws with some of their depth issues. And then the Boston Celtics, the Cleveland Cavaliers. There are a bunch of teams in the thick of the race in the East. And KD, him coming back makes the Nets very, very fascinating because if he's right, if he is the normal KD, MVP type KD, they can win the NBA Finals. That's how good he is.
Yeah, and if Kyrie gets to the point where he can be a full-time player, obviously that stuff is still playing itself out. It doesn't really matter what seed Brooklyn is. Like, as long as they're in the playoffs, they're going to be a threat to win the Eastern Conference. So we'll ask you guys, are the Nets the favorites to win the East with Kevin Durant back? Type Y for yes, type in for no. Get your votes in down in the comment section. Now, big announcement here from Chat Sports, NBA Now by Chat Sports, and several of our other channels as well. You can now watch us over on Rumble. All of our NBA content, news, rumors, potentially some exclusive content in the future as well. You can watch me, Chase Sr. as well, other hosts here at Chat Sports. The link is below, rumble.com/NBA Now. Chase, Rumble, another video platform site, uncensored. You can kind of, get a little bit edgier if you want as well. If you're into news and politics, other commentary you can find there also. But from us specifically, more the same, more NBA news and rumors coverage.
Yeah, here at Chat Sports as a company, we have versatility to our game, right? We cover news, rumors in an entertaining, informative, fun way. We can be serious. We can also have fun. We also have versatility with our platforms, right? Not everybody takes in and absorbs their content on YouTube, so this is yet another way for you to watch us at Chat Sports. You can watch us on Rumble, and if you're like me, I hate cancel culture, and sometimes these other platforms, they like cancel culture. Rumble does not.
Rumble.com/NBA Now. Link in the comments and in the description. Let's get into the latest on Ben Simmons as we move along here in connection to the Nets, of course. A report dropping earlier this week on Wednesday that appears to have had some kind of setback with his back injury. It's kind of hard to tell what's going on with Simmons. Obviously, he has not played this year. It's unclear how much he was working out before the trade went down, as he was obviously not going to play for Philadelphia before that happened. A couple of things are clear. One, he's not going to play in the return we've been waiting for against Philadelphia in Philly on March 10th. That will not happen. And also, he may not play for the entire month of March, which brings us to the question, Chase, is he going to return at all this year? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. And for that reason, and the fact that the Sixers are humming right now, James Harden looks to be his old MVP self. Him alongside Embiid and Maxey, as we talked about, looks to be a really dynamic trio in the Eastern Conference and one of the best threesomes across the entire NBA. And the fact that the Sixers are yielding immediate results from James Harden, and then up I-95 in Brooklyn, the Nets have yet to see Ben Simmons take the floor, and there are legitimate questions as to whether or not he's going to play all year, leads me to say that the Sixers won the trade. First of all, they got the better player. They didn't give up Tyrese Maxey or Matisse Thybulle, who were two young building blocks on this Philadelphia roster. And if Brooklyn doesn't have Ben Simmons, their potential is somewhat limited, where I think the Sixers' potential with James Harden is limitless.
Yeah, and look, time will tell how this trade ends up playing out. But in the short term, there's no doubt who won the trade. And especially for Brooklyn, let's just say they don't have Simmons this year. When KD and Kyrie signed to play with the Nets, this was hey, let's win as many titles as we can in a 3 to 5 year period. Well, if it doesn't happen this year, which it's that much harder without Simmons because you lost Harden already in the trade, it's going to be hard to pull that off. Now, could it still happen if KD and Kyrie are healthy? Absolutely. They could carry this team to a championship, but having Ben Simmons obviously would help. Here's what I'll say, though, about the back injury, because there's a lot of speculation. Does he just not want to play yet? He was... all the mental stuff, mental health stuff he was claiming in Philadelphia, and it's unclear if that just went away after he got traded. I will say this, if he misses all of March, there probably is some sort of injury, which creates an even larger issue for Brooklyn. Like, okay, if he's already not played at all this year, now there's an actual issue physically with him. We know mentally it's been a challenging process for Simmons trying to, flush what happened in the playoffs last year and get over the Philadelphia stuff. Yeah, I would say so far there's no doubt who won the trade, and that was the Philadelphia 76ers, Chase.
Yeah, and look, you can't really compare the games of Ben Simmons and James Harden because they're two completely different players. I've said this, I think Ben Simmons is a really good addition to the Brooklyn Nets. I think he can be Kevin Durant's Draymond Green that he flourished with when he was playing for Golden State. Ben Simmons does a lot of the same things. He's the best defender in the NBA, in my opinion, and according to many people out there, because he can guard multiple positions. You can say what you want about him not being willing to shoot, but he's an elite passer. He can finish around the rim, and playing with KD and Kyrie puts him in a spot where he can be successful because the pressure is not on him like it was in Philadelphia, which he obviously cratered to.
Make sure you guys subscribe to us here at Chat Sports for the latest NBA news and rumors. As more Ben Simmons storylines and updates unfold, we will have you covered here at Chat Sports. Link is down below to stay up to date with everything we're doing here on this channel. All right, one more big superstar to go, and then we'll catch you guys up on this epic MVP race that we're witnessing. Zion Williamson. Maybe, just maybe, he has a chance to play this year, Chase. A report dropping yesterday that foot is improving and that he's going to slowly ramp up and do some basketball activities. Now, with only 22 games left, is he going to play this year? I don't really know, but, maybe he gets healthy by the end of this year, even if he doesn't play. Full healthy offseason reps with CJ McCollum in this new core. Maybe come next year, the Pelicans are a force in the West.
We could talk about Zion Williamson coming back this year. I don't believe he's coming back. And if I'm wrong, I'll certainly eat the crow. I don't think he's coming back for a couple of reasons. One, I don't think he's right. Two, that foot issue is still a serious problem. Three, I don't think the weight issues have gone away. And the Pelicans want to try to convince him to stay long-term in New Orleans because they went out, they made that trade for CJ McCollum, who's really been balling out since coming to the Big Easy. They have other good young pieces on that roster like Brandon Ingram as well as Devontae Graham. Jonas Valanciunas balled out against the Lakers the other night. Zion Williamson, when healthy, is a fabulous player. Career stats of almost 26 points per game, 7 boards, shooting around 60% from the floor. But the Pelicans need him to be right for him to maximize his own abilities. And look, I know the Pelicans have been playing well. They are in the mix to make it into the NBA play-in tournament. That win over the weekend against the Lakers was really, really impressive. And for that, they're moving in the right direction. Shout out to Willie Green, first-year head coach, for really doing a terrific job coming over from the Phoenix Suns when he was an assistant under Monty Williams. He's a great head coach. They have some good young pieces moving forward, but as part of that core, they need Zion healthy, so I think they're going to err on the side of caution.
Look, if Zion can get healthy, maybe it doesn't equate to this year. I think this team can be scary, Chase.
I agree.
I really do. We saw Zion last year, and there were real talks of this is a top 10 player in the league already. I mean, he was unbelievable a year ago. You think about what he can bring to the table as just a dynamic athlete and a scorer and a rebounder, an explosion, all that stuff. With CJ, one of the best isolation scorers in the NBA, and he's been showing that on a night-to-night basis with New Orleans already. You've got Brandon Ingram, who I think is one of the most underrated players in the league. I like Valanciunas. I like some of the bench pieces. This team could do some real damage, but if Zion doesn't get healthy, it's kind of a moot point because without Zion, you kind of have a bunch of B-level players, and you need that A-level guy, and that's what you were hoping for when you drafted Zion. When he's played, he's been that. The problem is, Chase, he's played 85 career games, and he's in year 3.
Yep, that's a problem.
That's a big problem. So, this is going to be a big offseason coming up for him. I'm not even really factoring this season in at this point. Maybe the Pelicans sneak in and he plays. Who knows? But moving forward is going to be the big question mark for New Orleans and what they want to do with him. We will ask you about this season. Will he play or will he not? Type P for play, type W for won't. Let us know what you guys think. Let's get you guys up on the MVP race across the NBA, Chase. It's getting spicy, man. I'm really liking the level of play we're seeing from some of these guys. And by the way, we're going to focus on 5 players. There's a few others like the Luka Doncic's of the world who just won Western Conference Player of the Month that could make a push as well. But what do you think about this race? And let's break down some of these guys.
I'm not factoring in recency bias here. I just think this is one of the best and closest NBA MVP races that we've seen in a little while. By the way, Luka Doncic, month of February, 35 points per game, 41% from 3, and about 45% from the field.
10 rebounds, 8 assists.
So he deserves to be in this conversation as well. And Jason Kidd deserves to be getting some NBA head coach of the year buzz. And if he continues to play like that, Mavs continue to win games, Luka can be among these 5 players. But right now, Joel Embiid is the leader. Nikola Jokic is right behind him at 3-1 odds. Giannis is sneakily having a fantastic year, right on par with his MVP prior seasons. And then Ja Morant, DeMar DeRozan have really climbed up the rankings the last couple of weeks. Last week we were saying they're not getting enough buzz. Now they finally are getting that respect because Ja and DeRozan, you take them away from their respective teams, they're not good basketball teams.
Yeah, DeRozan just won Player of the Month in the East as well. And a quick note on Giannis, by the way. He currently is on pace to have the highest player efficiency rating in NBA history.
It's crazy.
So, and he's not even the favorite right now. That's how good these guys are playing. We'll start with Embiid, the favorite right now. Just keeping this team afloat. And what did we say all years? Stay 500 until the All-Star break? Well, they were like 10, 11 games above. That's how good he was playing. Now you factor in Harden, what he's been able to do in that two-man game. If Embiid stays healthy, going to be tough for him not to win it.
Yeah, and he's been actually better with James Harden, which can come as a surprise to some people because you're expecting Joel Embiid to maybe get less shot opportunities. He's actually gone to the free throw line more with James Harden, and his points per game is more as well. I think when you talk about Joel Embiid winning the NBA MVP, you think about all of the distractions that happen with the Ben Simmons situation. Ben Simmons is a second-team All-Pro. He's a first-team All-Defender. To not have him all year and for the Sixers at the All-Star break to be as good as they were, really, really impressive in a very good Eastern Conference. What Embiid does offensively, defensively, shooting with his array of moves and skills on the offensive end, he's just been masterful. And last year, he finished runner-up to the Joker in NBA MVP. Right now, he has the edge. Let's hope he can stay healthy.
And the Joker's been on a tear recently as well. He continues to improve as a rebounder specifically. I mean, 14 boards per game this year. He had a stat line recently, Chase, where he had 8 points, but he had like 18 assists and like 16 rebounds or something like that. I mean, sometimes he's like, I don't feel like scoring tonight. I'll just drop 20 dimes on you. For a 7-footer, we've never seen it. There's a reason he won it last year. I thought it was garbage when Nick Wright said it was the worst MVP in the last 35
Historical
years.
Season.
He does things for his size we've literally never seen. So
that pass the other night, dude?
Oh, my God. He's standing like this in the post, like the high post on the right wing, and he throws like a two-seam, two-handed pass over a 6'8" guy in the corner. Of course, the three was missed, but it's one of the greatest passes I've ever seen.
Yeah.
He's elite, and he's right there in the mix, as is Giannis. I just mentioned, Chase, the player efficiency rating, and, I mean, not surprising, right? When you're averaging 30, 11, and 6, your PER is going to be very high.
And it's funny because I think people are overshadowing Giannis somehow because of the other masterful performances that we've seen in the NBA, maybe because he's coming off a season in which the Bucks won the NBA championship and the NBA Finals MVP for Giannis, and people have Giannis fatigue. I'm not sure, but this statistically has been one of the best years of his career. Now, maybe he's not getting that MVP love because the Bucks aren't a 1 or 2 seed in the Eastern Conference right now as of this recording, but Giannis has been absolutely spectacular.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And look, I think the people are sleeping on the Bucks in general. I mean, they won the freaking title last year, and people aren't even considering them as a potential favorite. Ja Morant, he's kind of NBA Twitter these days, Chase, Instagram, because of the highlight reels. And, I've seen a lot of takes, some saying, we've seen this before. I think Colin Cowherd said, this is Russell Westbrook. Like 5 years from now, we'll just be talking about,
D-Rose.
is he the same guy? I don't view it that way, man. I think Ja Morant, sure, he's got that explosiveness to his game, but I don't see why there's any reason why this guy can't be a MVP type of player and a winning player for a very, very long time. The shot needs to continue to improve, but something he has that a guy like Russ doesn't have is I think his leadership and intangibles are off the charts. I think guys gravitate toward him. You saw the other night when he dropped 52, all his teammates are running and jumping to him at the end of that game, like, yo, that was badass, that type of thing. Like, Ja Morant is a leader, Chase. He's a great player. He's also only in year 3. He is a very young player still.
Grind City's been turning up at FedEx Forum.
It's going to be lit in the playoffs.
We talked about this before, but Ja for me is really one of one. He's a combination of 3 players. Kyrie Irving and his finishing ability around the rim. He has a little bit of Derrick Rose in him from an athletic standpoint, and then the same can be said for Russell Westbrook, but I think he's a better shooter than the latter two. Such a bright potential. Does he play with reckless abandon to a certain degree? Yes. Do you worry about him being as springy later on in his career, and can he be as effective? We'll see, but right now, in my opinion, my eyes, he's the most exciting player in the NBA.
Better decision maker than Russell Westbrook.
Yes, no question. Doesn't play that maddening style of basketball.
DeMar DeRozan, I mean, look, if you want to call it boring, if 28 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists on 52%, mostly in the mid-range is boring, and give me boring, because what this guy has done for Chicago this year, Chase, this team wasn't a playoff team a year ago. And they might win the East in the regular season. And by the way, that's with Alex Caruso, Lonzo Ball missing significant time, Patrick Williams being out all year, and Zach LaVine's not 100%. And the Bulls have come out and said he's not going to be 100%. Like, he probably needs a procedure after the season. So DeMar DeRozan is carrying the load in Chicago, and they're probably going to win 55 games out of an 82-game season, and they're going to have a chance in the playoffs. So what he's done for that team, by the way, in his early 30s, I mean, many people thought his best seasons were behind him. I mean, how many articles, Bleacher Report, all these places, worst contract of the offseason?
Well, yeah, $84 million, I think it was, during NBA free agency. That's a lot, but like, he has literally defied the odds. Nobody has had a career season this late in their career than DeMar DeRozan.
Not only was it a good contract, he's outperformed it.
Yeah,
That's how good he's been. So it's a fun race. It's exciting. I'm fascinated to see how it all plays out, as I'm sure all of you are as well. Who is the MVP this year? At least right now. This can certainly change as it's that close. Let us know. Chase and I will be reading your comments on this video. All right, what are you guys saying in the chat? Cauley Stein, yeah, he gone. You fellas drinking? Got a little sluggy here.
A little Modelo.
Yeah. The mountains are blue.
The mountains are very blue over here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sparkling.
Embiid for MVP from Big Gunction. Justin Fields MVP, one of my Bears watchers, L2 Cloud. Greg says Ja. Greetings, friends, from Liz. What's going on, Liz? We got Lonzo in the chat as well. So, yeah, it's going to be a fun MVP chase. Can't wait to see how this race plays out.
Cannot wait.
So, all right, let's get into our next segment here. We got some news on Philadelphia 76ers now that we got to break down for you guys. More of just a confirmation, DeAndre Jordan heading to the Sixers. So we'll catch you guys up on that and more coming up here on NBA Now, any given Thursday, coming at you here on Chat Sports. He's Chase. I'm Harrison. Let's catch you guys up on the latest Sixers news and rumors. And Chase, just before we went live on Thursday, the news dropped officially the 76ers are going to sign DeAndre Jordan.
And this is really the expectation over the last couple of days, that after getting waived by the Los Angeles Lakers, DeAndre Jordan was going to sign with the Philadelphia 76ers. The corresponding roster move, the contract for Willie Cauley-Stein, that 10-day, has been terminated. Yes. So he is no longer with the team. That opens up a roster spot for DeAndre Jordan. Woj said this on Twitter a little while ago. Barring any unlikely waiver claim before the 5 p.m. deadline today, center DeAndre Jordan expected to sign with Philadelphia. Lakers waived him the other day on Tuesday, and Sixers have an open roster spot and desire to add another backup center. That 5 p.m. Eastern deadline came and went without DeAndre Jordan getting waived. So now he is going to be the backup center to Joel Embiid, and this is really a need on the Sixers roster. They had Willie Cauley-Stein as a potential backup, Paul Reed, Charles Bassey, Paul Millsap has been playing a little 5 as well, but my goodness, he seemed to age overnight. And I understand that DeAndre Jordan, his best days are behind him. There's no doubt about that. He's kind of washed, but a couple of things line up with him coming to the Sixers. Has experience playing for Doc Rivers when he was with the Clippers and had career years and was a multi-time All-Star and a very good defender. There's also this. With James Harden, we know that he plays really well with bigs who really are able to utilize the screen and roll. And DeAndre Jordan, that's really his strength. I mean, he became a superstar in this league for a couple of years because of the highlight reel-worthy dunks that he was able to throw down while screening and rolling with Chris Paul. James Harden likes to do a similar action, and that's something that we've seen Harden and Embiid operate. So expect to see that for DeAndre Jordan and Philadelphia. It's a depth signing. I don't expect him to get crazy minutes, but I think he gives you more than a Paul Reed, gives you more than a Willie Cauley-Stein, and of course has the experience geared up for a playoff run.
Look, you needed to replace some of Drummond's rebounding. This is what he'll do.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll grab rebounds. Like you said, he can roll to the basket,
protect the rim a little bit.
Finish around the rim. A decent rim protector, not quite to the level he used to be. But, poor man's Drummond, go grab me 5 rebounds a game in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Give us some hard fouls. Just eat up some minutes that some of these other inexperienced guys would not have been able to. Now, The story in Philadelphia continues to be around James Harden, Chase, is he had quite another big game the other night against the Knicks, especially in that second half, because New York came to play in that game, but you just kind of felt like the Sixers kind of, Harden gave Embiid that look like, all right, let's ramp it up to another level. They can't run with us, and that's how it played out, and he was fantastic.
James Harden, after playing at Madison Square Garden on Sunday, said, yeah, I expect South Philly to be turnt. They were turnt last night for the player intros all the way out through that game. And the Sixers started off slow. The Knicks got off to a hot start led by R.J. Barrett. You just had that feeling that the Sixers were going to overwhelm the Knicks over time, and they were going to really mount a comeback. And Harden in his first 3 games has been better than advertised. Yep. He looks rejuvenated. It looks as though he has a new lease on life. He looks to be happy playing in a Sixers uniform. And how could you not be when you're playing alongside Joel Embiid, and he continues to be the front runner in the MVP race? You have a 2-guard in Tyrese Maxey, who's been lighting the world on fire. Tobias Harris finally came to play in his 3rd game with James Harden, because the prior 2, he wasn't all that good. But you saw those numbers that Harden's been putting up, nearly a triple-double night in, night out. And here's what he had to say about that debut at the Wells Fargo Center. It was just exciting, man. The love, the fans, it feels like home. Just the love, the support from looking around, hearing, we love you, James. That right there makes me go out and play harder. And I just wanted to do whatever it takes to get the win. And the Sixers got the win. They're now 3-0 with Harden. And he also said, yo, it was like a movie out there, man. It was a spectacle in South Philly. And, what's going to be telling, Harrison, coming up, Sixers have a couple of really tough games. They have the Cavaliers on Friday. On the back end of that back-to-back, it's the Miami Heat. They're playing the Brooklyn Nets. They have a couple of tough games. So while it's very exciting to see what Harden's been able to do, we kind of have to temper our expectations because they played 3 mediocre to bad opponents. Let's see what they can do against an actual quality opponent.
I think this actually lined up perfectly, Chase. You get some manageable games to get him and Embiid playing together, get the fan base fired up after some big games. Now you get to see how this team actually stacks up, right? Like, you're going to see them play against some better competition down the stretch, obviously come playoff time. So you've gotten kind of the early stuff out of the way. It's time to move beyond the honeymoon. Let's move beyond the honeymoon phase. Now it's like, okay, let's play good basketball for the next month and a half, and then come playoff time, it's go time. Like, to me, it's like, hey, we're rolling. Let's keep it rolling. But, it's not just about the fact that we're excited that Harden's here. Yeah. He's here now. Like, yeah. It's about,
the beard is here.
It's about going and winning games against good competition because, look, this goes back to me, and you guys going to get your votes in who won the trade, Philadelphia or Brooklyn. This, to me, is like, if this works out, it's like the process finally finished. Yeah. The circle is complete. Because, like, we're 6, 7, 8 years into this process really starting, and it's come to this moment right now, Chase. It's about this playoff run, and there's no reason why the Sixers can't be that team that makes a run out of the Eastern Conference this year.
Yeah, especially with the development of Tyrese Maxey and him playing off-ball as a 2-guard alongside James Harden. And it's funny because Harden has kind of taken Maxey under his wing. You saw him hit that stutter step back last night. He went off for 21 points after recess, and in 3 games playing alongside the Beard, man, he's been going off. I mean, playing excellent basketball, shooting really well from beyond the arc, around 65%, I think, from long range. Tyrese Maxey, he's really just been playing excellent basketball. And this is a great development for the Sixers moving forward because they envision having Maxey and Harden as their backcourt duo. And if Maxey can continue to flourish, playing off ball, that's an on-court pairing that can play together for a little while.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how this team continues to come together. And like I said, I think this is a team that can make a push into the postseason as we get closer and closer to that here in the month of March. Playoffs start in April, then obviously the finals would be in the month of June. All right, Chase, I know you've kind of started this movement here on Philadelphia 76ers now. We have a Knicks channel. Well, Sixers already passed that. Another prominent sports town in the Northeast is Boston. Boston Celtics Today, our Celtics channel, closing in within 3,500 or so. Will Sixers fans stand up and pass them?
Yeah, we're talking about on-court rivalries that are some of the best in the history of the NBA. We also have some rivalries more friendly than the on-court rivalries here at Chat Sports. So at first, It's Sixers against Knicks. We launched those channels on the same day, and it's been funny to see both of those channels kind of jockey back and forth
They've each
between
had
revenue
runs.
and subscribers. Now, the Sixers going after an even bigger enemy in Boston and Boston Celtics today. I think we can surpass Celtics today over the next couple of months. So if you want the best Sixers coverage on YouTube from me and sometimes Harrison, go to youtube.com/76erstv or hit that red subscribe button.
We'll get to our next segment momentarily. What's your favorite type of candy? Let us know in the chat. We'll get some shout-outs going here. Troy says Brooklyn won the trade. Not so far, Troy. Not so far. Jeremy Chuggs, executive producer, says Reese's take 5. Philadelphia, I want Steph to be MVP. He ain't winning MVP. He hasn't shot the ball well enough this year. Sweden Fish, I don't really. Have you ever had those?
Swedish Fish?
Swedish?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Are they
Swedish Fish are very underrated.
Are they best candy worthy? Like, are they in that conversation though?
No.
That
That's
feels-
like if it's on the table,
Yeah,
I'll have it.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of how I feel about that.
I think it's like sometimes I'll go not looking for Swedish Fish, but I'll be like, oh, yeah, I'll grab some Swedish Fish.
Yeah.
I'm getting some candy.
Twizzlers, Kit Kat.
It's that type of candy.
Maz Payne, Bro Mexican candy. I've never heard of that, Gonzalez. Nerds Gummy Clusters from Jeremy.
Jeremy's always coming in with something unique.
Yeah,
you know?
There's no doubt about that. He brings the culture to the food aspect of what we like to do here. All right, let's talk about the Golden State Warriors next. They've been struggling, Chase. Let's see if we can get that turned around for the folks out in the Bay. Harrison Graham and Chase Sr. here, Chat Sports, catching you guys up on the latest Warriors news and rumors. Team's been struggling a little bit. I know you've talked about that on a few videos over the past couple of weeks, Chase Sr., but still in a good spot, certainly. You know, you're hoping to get some key reinforcements back, and we'll kind of start there, Chase, get some injury updates going here. Where are we at with Draymond and Wiseman?
Really good news for Draymond. Hasn't played since January because of what started as a calf injury, which was actually a back injury. Good news for Draymond and the Warriors. They've really missed him on both ends of the floor. He practiced with the Dubs, little 3-on-3 action in Dallas as they're set to play the Mavericks tonight. The fact that he's traveling with the team is, of course, a very good sign. And from a culture standpoint, from an on-court fit standpoint, offensively, defensively, having a high basketball IQ, really, the Warriors have just missed Draymond Green so much, and I think that's been a big part of their struggles. As for James Wiseman, he, like Draymond Green, also practiced in Dallas as he continues to rehabilitate that knee injury. We'll get to what Steve Kerr had to say about Wiseman, and there might be some concerns if he comes back at all this year. I want to get your thoughts on that, Harrison. Klay Thompson will play against the Mavs. He's been sick. And then Moody was out because of a shot that he took to the eye from Karl Anthony Towns. So Moses Moody going to be questionable for the game against the Mavericks.
Let's hear from Steve Kerr, then we'll talk a little bit more about these injuries, especially around James Wiseman. Here's what he had to say about his second-year center. His conditioning is really coming around, so I think from a health standpoint, it's going smoothly, and that's the biggest thing. What I always keep circling back to is this guy needs reps. He needs 1,000 reps. He needs a summer league. He needs a training camp. So that let's temper the expectations, but be excited about his future because as he gets those reps, he's got the potential to be a tremendous player. That sounds like a guy to me, Chase, that guy being Steve Kerr. Even if Wiseman gets cleared medically for this year, he's got zero expectations for him factoring into this team this season, and that's a bit surprising to hear. I think a lot of that is he wants to leave the pressure off the young player who was the number 2 pick just last year. But if he gets cleared and is ready to go, I'm throwing him into the fire. I'm seeing what he can bring to my team because I don't know how many years Steph and these boys have left playing at a high level. But if you disagree with what the tone of what that quote sounded like, that didn't sound like a guy who wants anything, like really expects anything from Wiseman.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why I wanted to get your thoughts on it because the verbiage of what Steve Kerr had to say tells me that James Wiseman is ramping up basketball activities, but Steve Kerr is basically saying temper your expectations for him as a player. And I kind of got the feeling that he might not come back at all. You're saying he needs a summer camp, he needs training camp, he needs preseason. So what about this year, though? Yeah. Because you need him in that front court. There's no doubt.
And he was the number 2 pick last year.
Yeah.
This isn't a developmental 25th overall pick from this year. Like, I mean, Kuminga's played all year. Like, Wiseman can't play. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm going to keep my eye on this one, and curious to see what Dub Nation has to say. Will he play this year? Type P for play, type W for won't. I wonder if Kerr isn't telling us everything, and he's like, dude, he is not ready to play. Like, from a basketball standpoint, not from a health standpoint, but from a basketball standpoint. I don't know. I think it's a little fishy. We will keep an eye on this one for sure. Something you guys should keep an eye on and go check out is Golden State Warriors Today. We're expanding. We are now on Rumble. Link is below to go check us out over there, rumble.com/Warriors TV. You can find Warriors content over there. As we grow over there, go follow us. We might be able to bring you guys some exclusive content on that platform, so stay tuned for that. Uncensored platform with, sports, news, political commentary, whatever your flavor is, whatever your favorite personalities are out there in the world. Go check out Rumble. Lots of cool content creators on that app, Chase, and more videos from us here at Golden State Warriors Today.
Yeah, no doubt. Like Draymond Green and Klay Thompson, they're not one-way players. We're not one-way homies here at Chat Sports. We do it all, and we push out content on multiple platforms. Rumble, yet another one of them.
Get some shout-outs here, and then we will hop into our next segment here as we'll catch you guys up on the purple and gold, see what's going on with Laker Nation. Type P for play, W for won't. Troy says play. Dub says, lost his comment there. Airheads is a candy. Does that qualify as a candy?
Of course it does.
I guess it does.
Yes.
All right.
And what is it, a vegetable?
Yeah, I was like, what did you
it's
think?
not a
What were you
vegetable. It's
Were
like
you gonna qualify it as a gummy,
I know
like a
it-
gummy
it's
bear? Like
just
a,
straight up candy.
Yeah, I guess so.
Made in a factory and a bunch of fake
yeah.
sugar.
They love chemicals.
Sounds
in
like
that
Papa
thing.
John's. Sugar Daddy from Cyber. Oh, goodness. Probably good because I hate cavities. Warriors are done from Jay. I sent a link to that candy. Hey, can we push hashtag NBA to try and get some questions through if we're going to scrape out a little 8-minute piece later? We probably should promote that. I think I've got one made, Sam, if you want to get that up. We're going to try and do a live Q&A NBA edition here on the show, so use hashtag NBA to get your questions in right now, and we'll try to get to as many of those as we can. You can also super chat to get your questions on the show. We'll try to answer those as well, but get your questions in right now. If we get enough of them, we'll do a live Q&A. If you guys, aren't feeling like you want to ask questions today, then we won't answer them. But if we get enough, hashtag NBA or super chat, we'll answer those questions here in just a little bit. All right, let's get into the latest on the Los Angeles Lakers. What do you guys think? Are they going to make the playoffs? They going to make it, Chase? They're going to make the play-in
tournament. I don't think they're good enough right now without Anthony Davis to make it into the actual playoffs.
Oh, man. How the mighty have fallen. What a disaster it's been. Yes or no? Are they going to make it?
I will say, and Harrison, we talked about this the other day. If you watch the Mavs-Lakers game, they weren't completely dead.
That third quarter was the best quarter they've played all year.
Maybe,
they outscored the Mavs by like 20.
Yeah.
Staples, the Crip, as they call it now.
The Crip.
Crypto.com arena
Crip
was popping, and then Luka just bullied LeBron in the fourth, which was tough for Laker Nation. But I don't know, things have not gone well there. So
that's what I said. Yeah, we
it's
just need the 8 on that.
Yeah, let's get this piece to 8. All right, let's talk about the Lakers here on today's show. If you guys are ready, we're going to bring it to you. He's Chase Sr., I'm Harrison Graham. Let's get you guys caught up on the latest surrounding the Los Angeles Lakers. Last time this team was at it, a tough loss to the Dallas Mavericks. We'll see if they can get things turned around. But we're going to talk about Anthony Davis, Chase. The trade buzz has been kind of circulating. Obviously, nothing can happen until the offseason, but man, the offseason might come a little early this year for LA. We'll see how the next month and a half plays out. But what's going on with AD? Could he get dealt this offseason?
Yeah, so an anonymous NBA executive had said, look, the Boston Celtics showed interest in Anthony Davis before, and the Lakers should try to renegotiate and pick back up those trade talks. And here's the trade proposal that he put together. Again, an anonymous NBA executive. The Celtics would receive Anthony Davis and Talen Horton-Tucker. The Lakers would receive Jaylen Brown, one of the best two-way players in the NBA, who is still ripe in his mid-20s, Marcus Smart, as well as Aaron Nesmith. Now, if you're Los Angeles and you want to move on from the injury-prone and off-injured Anthony Davis, getting back Jaylen Brown would be excellent value for Los Angeles. I'm so high on Brown and the development that we've seen ever since he came into the league, being drafted after Ben Simmons. I just don't think the Boston Celtics would want to bring back Anthony Davis in a trade by sending away Jaylen Brown, because I think Brown is the better player and he's more often available.
I'd do that trade in a heartbeat if I'm the freaking Lakers. You kidding me? With how the last 2 years have played out?
If I'm the Lakers, yes.
That's what I'm saying.
No.
I'm agreeing with you. If I'm Boston, I'm like, no. But if I'm the Lakers, I'm like, hell yes. Yeah. If I can get Jaylen Brown, who's about 5 years younger, doesn't get injured. And look, if both are fully healthy, I still think AD's better than Jaylen Brown. But AD can't stay healthy, and he hasn't been the player he was in the bubble 2 years ago.
Yeah.
After that season, I was like, is he finally ready to be the lead dog on a championship team? That has not played out due to injuries. I don't think even when he has played Chase, he's been right since then. He just has been dealing with a lot, and he can't stay healthy. Here's what that executive said on trading AD. Quote, "It was no secret Danny wanted him in 2019. How that be Danny Ainge, of course. He would have given up Tatum in a heartbeat for AD. Things have changed. They wanted to offer Brown, but it would have come down to Tatum, and he would have done it in the end, I think. Now, the Lakers would want Tatum back, but there's no way the Celtics do that. But put an AD deal with Horton Tucker for Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, Aaron Nesmith, the Lakers would have to consider that. I'd take it. I would take it too. Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt about that.
The back half of that is funny. The Lakers would have to consider that. Yes, of course they'd have to consider that, and they should take it. If you're the Celtics, though, you don't accept it.
I don't think so.
You don't take it. You don't even think about it. So if I'm the Boston Celtics, I look at AD and I'm like, look, he's a unicorn, man. When he's right, top 5 player in the NBA. But Harrison, the last 2 years, because his game has slipped a little bit, look at the numbers. The numbers don't lie in this instance.
Yeah, they're down.
And the fact that he's been injured, I think he's out of the top 5 equation. I think he's not a top 10 player
not
because
currently.
of the rise of players like Ja Morant. He might not even be top 15 right now.
We had debates a couple of years ago about this, and me and our boss, got into a little heated argument because I thought he was ridiculous when he said he wasn't top 10. And at the time, I was right. I'll take that to the grave.
Yeah.
But currently, he's not top 10. Like, he is not a top 10 player in the NBA. I will say that very confidently. And he's not even better than Jaylen Brown right now. You know what I mean? Like, so why would Boston do this? They're only going to split up Brown and Tatum if they just get. You'd have to be getting an MVP type of player to do that. And Davis isn't that currently. So the Lakers are in a weird spot because, they're a fringe 8 seed right now. LeBron's getting older. You brought back Horton Tucker. That hasn't worked out that well. Davis can't stay healthy. The Russ thing was just an absolute disaster, Chase. There's rumors about, the two parties trying to work him out on a trade this offseason. But how are you going to move him? That's going to be difficult. I mean, this is kind of the cycle of LeBron. You're going to get a title when you bring him into your franchise. But by like year 3 or 4, it's kind of a headache at that point because things tend to pop up. And what's popping up right now is Russell Westbrook, the juice wasn't worth the squeeze, and Anthony Davis can't stay healthy.
Yeah, no, you're right about that.
It's a tricky one for Laker Nation. But, hey, worst case scenario, you did get that title a couple of years ago, so it was all worth it. Who would you rather have? Type AD for Anthony Davis, type JB for Jaylen Brown. Again, if Davis was fully healthy, I'd take him. But right now, Chase, I think I'm taking Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, I'm going JB, and I also think that having a wing nowadays is really, really valuable for any team out there. I think that's how you win championships. Kobe, LeBron, the recent NBA winners, Kawhi Leonard, like you win with wings.
There's 2 bigs right now that I would take over just about any player in the league, and that's Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I'm with you. Just give me good wing play because that's where the NBA has been going for the past 5 or 10 years. You can now watch the Lakers Report on Rumble in addition to what you guys see here normally. More Lakers news and rumors coverage over there. By the way, a lot of our channels are over there now, and Laker fans, you don't want to be dead last in followers on Rumble. Trust me, Mitchell Renz of the Raiders Report, he's already been talking a lot of smack because he's already got a bunch of followers. Help us catch up, rumble.com/LakersTV. And of course, Chase, Rumble, similar to YouTube, a lot of cool content creators on there, but they emphasize censor-free. Hey, edgier content, whatever you're into, politics, news, some other sports content as well. You can also go find that at Rumble. And Chase, like you always say, we're not one-way stiffs here at Chat Sports. We're versatile. We're publishing content onto different platforms now. Go check us out on Rumble.
Yeah, Rumble's a fantastic platform, and it's one that I've been using for a little while because you don't have to worry about some of the oversight that you see on some other platforms out there. They appreciate and admire just free-flowing, open-minded conversations, and that's what we're going to continue to do on the Lakers Report.
Cool thing about Rumble, you can put the app in the background and still listen to a video, which, not all apps actually do that. All right, let's get back to this question. AD for Anthony Davis, type JB for Jaylen Brown. Got a couple of hashtag NBAs. Think we can sneak a little 8-piece out of this. We'll see. Brown is always hurt too, people. Jaylen Brown is not always hurt. He's been a little banged up this year, but Anthony Davis has been hurt his entire career to some degree. Yeah. So I don't agree with that. Let's see. JB from Innocent. We've got Tyson Fury will win. Does he have a big fight coming up? A little boxing talk in the chat.
The Gypsy. A little loud, Sam, but better, yeah.
Embiid flops so hard.
Better. Yeah, right.
It's the NBA. They all flop. JB from Perrin. All right. Appreciate you guys interacting with us. Like we said, hashtag NBA or Super Chat to get your questions on the show. I've seen a few come through, so we will answer those questions coming up here in just a little bit. Hashtag NBA or Super Chat. You want to go hop to want to do one more team cut and then circle back to this? Let's get into the Dallas Mavericks. We'll catch you guys up on what's going on with the MFFL's big game tonight against Golden State. But note for you, Chase, this is going out after that, so don't reference that game.
Cool. Got it.
But we'll get into the Dallas Mavericks coming up, and then we'll answer your questions here in about 5 or 10 minutes. So hashtag NBA or Super Chat. Chase and I are ready to go. Get those questions in. We'll get to those here in a moment. Dallas Mavericks news and rumors coming your way from us here at Chat Sports. Harrison Graham and Chase Sr. with you. Look, Dallas Mavericks playing some good basketball right now. And Chase, I wanted to talk a little bit about Spencer Dinwiddie and his early impact and get some of your thoughts as well because, when the Mavericks traded Kristaps Porzingis, it was kind of one of those bittersweet deals. The bitter part is you realize the KP thing didn't work out. The sweet part is getting out of KP's contract and seeing what a guy like Spencer Dinwiddie and Davis Bertans could do. And Dinwiddie, Chase, back in that six-man role, which is when he was at his best back in his Brooklyn days, he's been kind of that flamethrower, really spark plug off the bench. I've been really impressed with what we've seen so far.
You can call it bittersweet all you want. It was sweet for me from a basketball standpoint, getting rid of Kristaps Porzingis in that awful contract. Look, when he's on the floor, he's a solid player. But since he became a Dallas Maverick and coming off that torn ACL with the New York Knicks, he has not been able to consistently stay available and on the court. And for Luka Doncic, what a year he's having. Month of February, 35 points per game, 45% from the floor, 40+% from three, basically averaging a triple-double the entire month of February.
Incredible.
As he was named February Player of the Month. But what did he need, Harrison? He needed more shooting. He needed more playmaking. And you get rid of Kristaps Porzingis in that contract, and you bring in a player like Spencer Dinwiddie and Davis Bertans, who's been solid, but really the big takeaway is what Dinwiddie has been able to do. The game the other night against the Golden State Warriors at the Chase Center, I thought he was fantastic. And in that six-man role, I think that is what suits him best. He's able to feel comfortable there. For whatever reason, he's really able to just flourish on the offensive end. And if he comes in off the bench and on some nights he goes on a heater, that's really an added boost to this Dallas Mavericks offense, which is a luxury to have because defensively, they've been great, and Jason Kidd deserves Coach of the Year props for that.
Yeah, look, I think the Mavs have brought Dinwiddie in here, and they've said, look, you're going to come off the bench, and you can kind of just run the show for the second unit. And I think that's when he's at his best, when he's just a free-flowing point guard. I love what I've seen from him. He's an absolute menace attacking the basket. He really gets downhill well. And what I like about him, too, he's not afraid to use his left-hand dribble. A lot of players I've noticed have been guarding him hard on the right. He'll just blow past you on the left side and get to the basket and either score or dish if bigs collapse on him. He's really confident. These are three things I've really noticed from Dinwiddie in just a handful of games here with Dallas. Downhill attacker, like I mentioned. He's not scared to get into the paint and finish around the rim. Good floor general, and this is something he's always been good at. Low turnover rate, Chase. He does not turn the ball over, and that's kind of a nice change of pace for the second unit because if there's one thing that you have to live with Luka, at times the turnovers can pile up.
Yeah.
Because he's such an excellent passer that sometimes he'll just force the issue and he'll just throw one away. Dinwiddie, more of that under control point guard type, and then he's just very confident. This does not look like a guy who was only shooting 37% from the field this year. He's shot close to 50% with Dallas. He's been tremendous. I have really enjoyed what I've seen from him so far in Dallas.
Yeah, and the addition of Spencer Dinwiddie has helped make up for the subtraction of Tim Hardaway Jr. THJ is a guy who gives you floor spacing, is a very good three-point shooter when his offensive game is humming. And without him, I think you and I both, and Coop, worried about how the Mavericks were going to manage offensively without that scoring output.
Yep.
But Spencer Dinwiddie has been able to make up for it with a little bit more playmaking because I think you can rely on him to run point. He can play two guard, and he can put the ball on the floor a little bit more than Tim Hardaway Jr.
Yeah, and I wonder, long term, if he plays like this the rest of the year, do you maybe shop a guy like Hardaway in the offseason and trade him for a different piece?
Playing well without him now.
I think it's possible, only because Dinwiddie, he can be that sixth-man point guard type. Hardaway's not going to be your point guard off the bench. But
shooting's valued.
Yes.
And that's what Tim Hardaway Jr. does well. And if you're the Mavericks, you move on from his salary. And I think another team, because they value shooting, will take on that contract.
And maybe you bring in a big in here because now that's probably an area you could use another body. What do you guys think so far? How would you grade Dinwiddie? A, B, C, D, or F? Like an A-, man. He's been pretty damn good, especially in the role that they've asked him to play. Let's talk about the Nikola Jokic pipe dream. This is kind of, classic internet rumors, Chase, around the All-Star break. Oh, Luka and Jokic, they're hanging out. They're joking with one another. Jokic is a free agent after next year. Maybe he comes to Dallas.
It's so cute. They're throwing balls at one another at the All-Star game.
It's the Balkan boys.
I don't know if that was like a Trump impersonation or what I was doing there. South Park?
Balkan boys up in at the All-Star game. But, this is classic, fans, right? Like, oh, man, let's bring Jokic to Dallas. And, hey, I'm all for it. I think it would be fought as hell. As of now, still set to be a free agent after next year, but a report did come out on Thursday that he is expected to sign the Supermax contract this offseason as an extension before the final year of his current contract. I think it's like 5 years, 200 whatever million. It's a ton of money. But obviously, just hypothetically speaking, you team him up with Luka in Dallas, I mean, that would obviously be incredible. We know what type of player Jokic is at 25, 14, and 8, leading that Nuggets team. But it appears that whatever small percentage chance there was, that number's even dwindling further as he is expected to stay in Denver. But it'd be electric, there's no doubt. And until he signs that extension, this is kind of like the Giannis territory for me when there's all that chatter of, well, until Giannis re-ups with Milwaukee, he's been connected to the Mavs since the draft. They're going to be in play for him. So until Jokic does sign that extension, these rumors will circulate. But I think we can pump the brakes a little bit right now because it looks like he is probably going to remain in Denver for the long haul.
My man, can you imagine the passes that we would see from the Joker and Luka, two of the most gifted players of all time? Can you imagine the passing that we'd see from those guys?
I don't think it's hyperbolic to say Jokic is the best passing big we've ever seen.
I think so, yeah.
I mean,
high post, low post, around the three-point arc.
He can handle.
No-look passes. He can handle. He can hit threes.
He curves
fadeaways.
passes.
Yeah. He's got cutter movement on his passes.
Yeah, it's like Mariano Rivera.
And Luka
out of the
back
high
of his head as well.
It's unbelievable. We'll monitor this, but doesn't look super likely. If you want a Luka jersey, that is likely impossible. If you go to the link below, chatsports chatsports.com/Luka jersey. We got tons of different styles and brands available, some of the different jersey threads as well. Go check them out, not just the ones on the screen. That link will take you to a page at Fanatics that has a ton of Luka jerseys available. chatsports.com/Luka jersey. Pick up a number 77 Mavericks jersey today. Got the Jordan brand as well. That's a sweet looking one. Link will be in the comments and in the description of this video. Before we get into a Q&A here, hashtag NBA or Super Chat, who is the best player in the NBA currently? I feel like this is always a twofold question because Joel Embiid is the favorite to win MVP. Does that mean he's the best player in the NBA? I guess it does for that year.
For that year, yeah.
So answer the question right now. Who's the best player in the NBA? Is it Joel Embiid?
I think he's the most dominant player right now. I think Ja Morant is the most exciting.
KD is still
Who do I want one player to help me win an NBA championship, regardless of the roster? Kevin Durant.
Probably KD 1, LeBron 2, Giannis 3.
Yeah, I think Luka's up there too. I'd like to win him. Like to see him win a playoff series first.
I'd have Giannis higher just because we saw him do it last year. Certainly has more help than Luka does, but the NBA is loaded with talent, man. You know, you hear all these boomers say the NBA was better in the 90s, and sure, it was more physical, this and that. I get that, but the talent we have right now in this league is it's off the chain. I don't think we've ever seen it. Someone says Chet to OKC, Chet Holmgren. Can he put on 40 pounds? LeBron James in the chat. Yeah, LeBron's obviously still in the conversation. There's no doubt about that. All right, like we mentioned, hashtag NBA or Super Chat. We'll answer all of your questions. We'll scrape out 8 here, Sammy boy. Hashtag NBA or Super Chat.
Listen,
who are you talking to?
I'm going to call out the people a little bit because we have 6 questions right now.
That's plenty.
6 questions from 4 people.
2 questions, weigh in.
6
2 questions, sponsor. 2 questions.
All I'm saying is I think it'd be really easy to get your question on the show right now if you wanted to use
hashtag NBA or Super Chat.
This is true.
Maybe I'm crazy, but try me. Let's see what happens.
You're asking for a lot, Sam. You're asking for a lot. All right, we'll answer these questions and then a couple more teams to break down, and then we'll sign off on today's show. It is mailbag time here on NBA Now by Chat Sports. You got the AGT squad with you, Harrison Graham and Chase Sr., ready to answer any and all of your questions. So load them up, hashtag NBA or Super Chat. Let's get things started with BG Brody. Does Wiggins or Poole get moved this offseason? Of course, talking about the Warriors there.
Yeah, interesting question and a good question because you have a good feel of that Warriors roster. Andrew Wiggins, after this year, has 1 more year remaining on his contract. Also, after this year, there have been some rumblings about the Warriors signing Jordan Poole because he's eligible for a contract extension to a deal worth in the neighborhood of 4 years, $80 million.
Yeah.
If you're Golden State, you probably have to pick between one of these 2 players, Wiggins or Poole. Poole gives you more offense. Wiggins gives you more defense and a little bit of offense. So it's going to come down to team philosophy and team fit. I'm not sure the Warriors are going to be able to afford both of those players. Let's say Poole gets $80 million. I don't think Wiggins is going to get another fat contract like the one he's currently
He'll probably
on.
Get 20 plus though.
When he's making around $36 million, but he's going to get paid.
Let me ask you this before we get to our next question. What do you make of this Poole starting some nights? I know this has been a storyline for the Warriors, 6-man, because the numbers show he's better when he starts.
Yeah.
But then once Klay came back, you put him back on the bench, that type of thing. Would you start him if you're Steve Kerr? It's tough even when Draymond comes back. That makes it even harder.
Yeah, I don't think I would.
Okay.
Yeah, I do value second units.
All right. Say Oganubi.
Shea.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
Shea Oganubi.
The OG. Yeah.
Shea OG. That's that. Hey, we'll just
Shea the OG.
Shea the OG. There we go. Do you think that Vucevic doesn't get enough credit for what the Bulls, what he does defensively? He's never been known as a defender, but I will say this, Chase, because I've watched the Bulls a little bit more this year, having covered the Chicago Bears as well here at Chat Sports. I think Vooch has at least understood this year that he's not playing with the Magic anymore. This is a team he can actually win with. So he's at least taking more pride on that end. He's always been a good rebounder. He's giving more effort on that end. He's just not gifted athletically to stay in front of really good offensive players. But I do think his rebounding ability and effort has been more noticeable on that end, but he's never going to be a great defender. I will say this. I think he deserves credit overall in general. One, he's played a lot better over the last couple of months. He started really slow this year. And two, kind of taking a step back from being used to being easily the best player on his team to being like, I'm the third best guy now, behind Levine and DeRozan. So I think his selflessness has been important. I mean, think of a Kevin Love, a Chris Bosh with those super teams back in the day. You can't always be the best player on your team if you want to win a championship, and that's something that the Bulls would like to do.
Yeah, like, does he have effort defensively? Yes. Can you call him a good defensive player? No. Anytime he goes up against a player like Joel Embiid is, Vucevic's pops. Like, he has him in his pocket, and he's able to completely own him. So Vuce, as a defensive player, it's never really been his calling card. It's never been his strength. Has he put more effort into that area of his game this year? Yes, I think that's because he hasn't had as much of a role offensively.
Yeah, it hasn't been atrocious, which is an upgrade. Who's going to the NBA Finals this year? Maybe you think it's the Bulls. You can give us a team from the East, a team from the West. Right now, I'll say the Suns and the Sixers, but I think there's about 10 teams total that could end up making it. Let us know who's going to win the finals, who's going to make it. Let us know in the comments. Lakers all day, dope. Says, when the Lakers trade Westbrook in the offseason, do you think the Lakers get Wall or a young playmaker? I mean, look, they can keep saying that they want to find a trade for him, and we've seen in the past, you can trade any contract.
Yeah.
But how many suitors are left for us? Like, I mean, who is going to take him on and without wanting a first-round pick as well to take on that contract? That's why they didn't trade him at the deadline, Chase. The Rockets said, we'll take him if you take John Wall, but you got to send us a first as well. And the Lakers said no. So they got to take that same trade this offseason?
Yeah, like, why would you say no at the NBA trade deadline? And then after the year, Russ wants out. We want to trade him. Let's try to get John Wall again.
Why would you waste a year of LeBron? Exactly. They might as well have just tried it, honestly.
That's why a lot of the things that the Lakers have done over the last calendar year plus
18 months
hasn't made sense. They had an opportunity to get Kyle Lowry at the NBA trade deadline last year, and they wanted to keep Talen Horton-Tucker. Then they signed THT to a $30 million contract. Yes, Kyle Lowry got paid by the Heat, but if you could have had Kyle Lowry, he's a better player and a good player alongside LeBron James. You could have gone after DeMar DeRozan. You decided not to. You had Buddy Hield deal done. You didn't pull the trigger. You went after Russell Westbrook because of the influence of LeBron and AD, and now there's this?
You could have had Lowry, and you would have had to pay him, but you traded for Russ's contract.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have cost that much. You would have had a few.
It's like they've tried to make up for their mistakes.
Yeah,
but they should have made those decisions at that time.
They overcompensated when they traded for Russ. It was just an absolutely poor decision. Spread the word, because NBA Now by Chat Sports can now be watched on Rumble. The link is right there, rumble.com/NBA Now. Rumble, also a video content site. Chase, like you always say, we're versatile here at this company on different platforms. We like to get our content out to tons of different audiences out there. And if you want to go check out Rumble and us specifically over there, you guys can do so. Rumble.com/NBA Now. You can also find political commentary, news, finance, business content creators as well. Lots of different stuff you can find, censor-free as well.
Yeah, just like there's a couple of different social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, OnlyFans. There isn't just one platform for videos either. Rumble is yet another platform. We're really excited about the partnership. Check us out there. Give us a follow, rumble.com/NBA Now.
You a big OnlyFans guy?
I was thinking about starting one my own.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
A lot of people, I think, would pay me for my services.
That's two big news. We're on Rumble and Chase is on OnlyFans.
Jokes.
Check that out. Chatsports.com/ChaseOF.
I'm really edgy.
As a Knox says, who would you pick to win the East, the Sixers or the Nets? We're obviously trolling there. How
about neither? For me, I like the Miami Heat.
I keep saying the Sixers. If KD comes back and he's balling, and as much as I like to dog on Kyrie, if he becomes a full-time player, they're going to be hard to beat, man.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. If you have KD in the span of a 7-game playoff series, him and James Harden almost beat the Milwaukee Bucks, the eventual NBA champions, in the second round of the playoffs. If KD's shoe size was a size smaller, they might have won the NBA championship.
Yeah,
and that was without Kyrie Irving and with a hobbled James Harden.
Very hobbled.
Now you might have a full-strength Kyrie Irving and Ben Simmons on the floor.
Maybe he comes back. Maybe.
So, yeah, KD in the span of a 7-game playoff series,
you're always going to have a chance.
That's scary hours right there. If you're the Sixers, you do not want to play him in a playoff series.
He's just an assassin.
He could haunt you.
He's an absolute
best
assassin.
player when healthy in the NBA right now, in my opinion.
And I mean, he's the only guy where literally any night he can give you 50.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just that good. Who's winning the East? Type PHI for the Sixers, BKN for the Brooklyn Nets. If you think it's going to be someone else, comment below. I mean, look, the Heat, you got hell, the Celtics are playing really well all of a sudden. Milwaukee deserves credit with the way they've played coming off a championship. So let us know who's going to win the Eastern Conference. All right, we got time for a couple more. BG Brody, hashtag NBA. We'll get to one more after this. Who gets traded first, Zion, Brad, or Damian? Well, Bradley Beal apparently wants to re-sign with Washington. I don't know why.
That's a disgrace.
I just,
Go somewhere where you can win and compete for championships. You're not doing it in D.C.
I mean, Dame
Sorry, Wizards fans.
Dame's kind of in the same boat.
Yeah.
Although
Brad Stevens kind of likes Damian Lillard, huh?
Yeah. We'll talk about that. I respect the loyalty to a certain extent, but at some point I'm like, do you want to win? Like, especially if you're Beal. Like, at least Dame's made a conference finals. He sniffed winning.
Yeah.
The Wizards have done jack shit.
Yeah.
Like, him wanting to stay there. And he's talking about, we got size now with Kristaps Porzingis. Yeah, enjoy the 42 games a year.
Right.
Because that's what you're going to have to get used to. I watched it for 3 years in Dallas. He's had a bone bruise for a month, and he still can't get on the floor. So it's unfortunate, but it's just a fact. All right, John Nolan's going to get the last word here. As a Heat fan, I don't really want to see the Sixers in the playoffs because of Joel, but I feel like a lot of the other teams in a small ball lineup, we match up very well. What do you think? I think the Heat match up well with a lot of teams. Why? Because they go about 10 deep, and Jimmy Buckets in the playoffs is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I know Joel Embiid has the size and weight advantage on Bam Adebayo, but I want to take a look at his numbers since he came back from injury. He's been spectacular. So this is going back to January 17th. This is a 20-game sample size.
Adebayo?
He has been averaging, 19 points per game, 10 rebounds, 2 steals, a block and a half. He's shooting 54% from the floor. Bam Adebayo is a very good player.
He's a great defensive player.
I understand that Embiid has that Olajuwon finesse to his game and can overpower cats like Shaquille O'Neal, but Bam is a really good defender who's extremely athletic.
Yep.
And I think the Heat actually might have the advantage on the Sixers in a couple of areas. Mentally tough, coaching, defense, and depth.
Depth, yeah. I mean, look, for the Sixers, it's going to have to be Harden and Embiid. Like hopefully Tyrese Maxey plays like this in the playoffs, but we don't know. He's still a young player. So, yeah, I think the Heat can match up with just about anybody. Subscribe to us here at Chat Sports. If you love the NBA, we got the best coverage here on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Link is below, youtube.com/chatsportstv. Myself, Chase Sr. Hey, we'll probably crank up some watch parties come playoff time as well.
You already
stay
know.
tuned for that. We'll throw on our play-by-play caps once again. So subscribe and stay tuned for all of that. All right, a couple more segments to go. Who's your favorite NBA player? Let us know. And then what do we got? Celtics and Knicks left.
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll talk about those two squads. And then we'll keep it moving here. Shout out your favorite player. Where is Giannis in this poll? What poll were you talking about?
The live poll.
Oh, is this for? Oh, well,
our show.
I mean,
yeah. The show that we're live on right now?
No, I thought you were talking about our last question.
With you.
What poll? Oh, the one right in front of me. I mean, we can't pick every good player, right?
Look, if there were 5 options, I'd put them on there.
Yeah.
I was trying to make it more difficult because, that's what we do.
Yeah, we like to keep you guys thinking.
Embrace debate, homies.
Yeah, embrace debate. You guys see Mad
got
Dog
one.
on First Take. I mean, come on. So, all right. Yeah, Mar's trying to hand us a beer. I got 2. So, I got 2.
Did you crack that one yet?
I'm good. I'm not on number 2 yet.
All right.
I'm good. Are claws back?
There's 2 more claws.
2 more?
What flavor? Give me one. Give me one. Give me one of those. Hilarious, Marsh. Give me one of those.
D's,
claws.
did you say strawberries?
Toss me that piece. All right, give me one of those.
That's good stuff.
This is good radio here.
If Black Cherry is D's, I'm a big fan of it.
Oh, thanks.
Hey, throw this back in there.
It's not cold enough.
It's getting warm. All right, let's talk about the Celtics here on Chat Sports. Harrison Graham and Chase Sr. with you. Boston Celtics news and rumors coming at you at NBA Now by Chat Sports. And, man, this team continues to stay on a heater, Chase. They're playing really well. But let's not talk about how this team sits currently. Let's look ahead to the offseason. A report coming out that Brad Stevens really likes Damian Lillard and that a trade could be on the table this offseason.
I know a lot of people get frustrated with looking ahead like this, but you know what good businesses do? They always plan ahead because they're always a couple steps ahead of the competition, and sports organizations, they're businesses as well. So we're looking ahead at the potential of Damian Lillard being traded to the Boston Celtics, which I would like it for Boston. You somehow team up Jason Tatum with Damian Lillard. I don't think you can hold on to Jaylen Brown, but Dame walking bucket as soon as he crosses half court. According to reports, this is where this stems from. Brad Stevens really likes Damian Lillard, and trade buzz could resume this offseason, even though Chauncey Billups has done a sneaky good job with Portland without Dame in the lineup, and now that CJ McCollum has been traded. But Dame has maintained, I want to stay in the Pacific Northwest. Yep. I want to stay with the Portland Trail Blazers, but things change over time, right?
I mean, he seems pretty adamant, but you never know how things are going to play out long term. Here's what an NBA executive told Heavy.com about this situation. Brad has a soft spot for him, being Damian Lillard. He is a favorite of his, small college guy, such a hard worker. They have put themselves in a position to make a move like that. They can build a package around Derek White, Marcus Smart with Daniel Tice and Aaron Nesmith, and a draft pick. You might need to throw another draft pick in there if you're not including Tatum or Brown, which I don't think the Celtics would do. And I think that's the key, Chase. If you can get Damian Lillard while keeping Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown, let's go.
Yeah.
Like that's the dream right there, because then you got a guy in Dame who's just an absolute killer. You've got a young killer in Jason Tatum, and then you got Jaylen Brown, who's one of the best two-way guys in the NBA as a defender and, of course, as a scorer also. I mean, if he's your number 3, you're living right, because Jaylen Brown is a terrific young player. I think that threesome could really work together in Boston if they were able to pull it off. Again, anything around Dame is really up to him. I think if Dame went to Portland and was like, hey, it's been a great run, but I want to get traded, they would do that because they love him that much. But he continues to maintain that he wants to make it happen with the Portland Trail Blazers. He's, one of the best players of his generation. There's no doubt about that, as he's averaged 24 points over his entire career, Chase. As much as I would like to see him win a title in Portland, and I admire how loyal he's been and how he's tried to make it happen there, I just don't think it's going to. And maybe that's unfair of me to doubt what they could do and what he could pull off up there, but I just don't see it, man. He's not getting any younger. If he wants to win and win big, I think it's going to have to be elsewhere.
Yeah, look, Damian Lillard is a spectacular basketball player. He's going to go down in history as one of the best offensive players of all time. He's been to many All-Star games. He's had accolades. Doesn't have an MVP trophy. Doesn't have an NBA championship. And he's made one deep run in the playoffs throughout his NBA career. Yep. 2019 Western Conference Finals, when they just got the floor mopped by the Golden State Warriors. For Dame, I want to see great players be in an environment where they can have success, where their image is able to get maximized with their marketability. I want to see Damian Lillard go to a winner, Harrison. And I know the Trailblazers have made it to the playoffs a lot, and they have that lone deep run in the West. But other than that, I mean, Dame just hasn't really been there from a marketability standpoint. And I feel like for that reason, a lot of people don't realize his greatness. Dame is a great player. You go to a market like Boston, my goodness, I think it would be magical.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, you team him up with this young duo, if you could pull that off, in Tatum and Brown. I mean, we know what these guys are about. They are winning culture type of players. They're really talented young players as well. And I do want to add this as well, because Portland is not, it's not like he's dealing with the franchise that's like Sacramento, right? Like, Portland's done a lot of good things. They just haven't been able to get enough good talent around him. This isn't a dysfunctional franchise. Terry Stotts was a good coach there for a very long time. I think Billups can be a good coach. I'm just saying, he's been there for a decade. He's in his 30s now.
he's given it a go. It's not like after 4 years he's punking out and he wants to try it somewhere else. He's been loyal. Like, if he wants to leave all of a sudden, I'm not going to all of a sudden say his loyalty wasn't real. Like, he's been as real as it gets when it comes to trying to make it happen in Portland. I just think that, at the end of the day, it's hard to win a championship. And there's a reason players end up wanting to go to the Lakers or to the Celtics or to, these other teams, the Miami Heat, the Spurs when they were on their run, because those teams win. Like, those are the teams that are winning titles. Very rarely is it like last year, Chase, where, it's homegrown Milwaukee, like winning a title around their superstar. Sure, the Warriors kind of were able to do that. The Spurs did it for a while. I think that's come and gone for Portland. I don't see them hitting on a few drafts here and getting enough talent around Dame, at least not while he's still an elite player.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
I will say this. You can't split up this duo right now. So if you're going to trade for him, it can't be for one of these guys.
Yeah, and look, we never took seriously the rumblings earlier on this year about breaking up JT and JB. They're just way too good. And at some point, they were going to work it out. You also have to factor in that Ime Udoka is a first-year head coach. So give him at least a year to try to see how he can make this offense work. Now, from the NBA bubble and the conference championship appearance up until this recent hot streak, they were about a 500 basketball team. Yeah. That's not going to cut it in Boston for one of the most successful franchises in the sports history. But now they've been humming, and I ain't breaking up that tandem.
No, not currently. There's no way. Should the Celtics trade for Dame this offseason? Again, if you can do it without Tatum or Brown being gone, I'm all in. Type T for trade, P for pass, and let us know. Also, St. Patrick's Day is almost here. You got a couple of weeks to load up on some green gear, and you get some Celtics gear at that link down below, chatsports.com/Celtics green. We got T-shirts. We got this sweet-looking hat, by the way. And by the way, the Celtics, I mean, the theme, it just writes itself. I mean, if you don't have St. Patty's
Celtics gear applies for all year.
Yeah, I mean, you can wear it in freaking October. No one's going to call you out. Chatsports.com/Celtics green. Ladies gear as well. If you want to get something for your lady, maybe she's got a birthday coming up or whatever it is, go pick that up. I love the long sleeve look here as well. Chatsports.com/Celtics green. You got to be rocking this gear on St. Patrick's Day. All right. Should the Celtics trade for Dame? Get your votes in, and then we will talk about the New York Knicks before we sign off here on Chat Sports. Let's see here. Gorgie Dieng. Why is he in the chat? Tatum and Brown should not be split. I agree, Robert Bruce. Robert Bruce is back.
The real OG, Robert
One
Bruce.
Of the OGs.
The real OG RB.
Yes. Shea OG and then OG RB. That's how we rock here on here at Chat Sports. All right, let's get into this last segment and get on out of here. All right.
Quick.
Okay, all right,
Ooh.
I'll agree to this.
Yeah.
We'll start early tonight.
I just wanted to shake things up for you guys a little bit. I think you guys have been a little low energy, and so I want to jump you guys up a little bit.
The cut daddies always bring the heat, Sam.
Low energy. Yeah, low energy translating into 8 cuts.
Well, low energy translates into only the second beer of the afternoon.
You just want us to drink. It's all
I just
good.
wanted you to drink a little bit more.
I'll
So let's
take
get
it.
just 13 more likes.
I also want to drink, so I'm in. If we get to 60 likes in the next 30 seconds, we will chug the rest of our drinks. So what are we at? 48? Come on, we got 135 people watching. Like the video. If we get to 60 likes in the next 30 seconds, we will chug the rest of our drinks. So clock's ticking. We're down to about 20 seconds. I'm not seeing any likes coming in, so maybe there's anti-beer guys
people
in the
don't
chat.
believe in you.
They don't. Hey, well, I don't believe in them because I'm not seeing the likes come in. So clock's ticking. Like this video. I'll tell you what. If we get to 60 likes after we talk about the Knicks, we'll still do it. Deal? All right, we'll do it.
Sure.
All right, here we go.
Let's get this cut.
Let's get to this cut, and then let's see if we're chugging beers or not. Like the video if you want us to chug our drinks. New York Knicks news and rumors coming at you. Harrison Graham and Chase Sr. here, NBA Now by Chat Sports. And Chase, it just continues to be a struggle for the Knicks. They played the Sixers pretty well the other night, and then it fell apart once again. And you know what? I think a big problem with this team this year has been the disappointment around Julius Randle, who has played better as of late, but Bleacher Report dropped an article of basically the most disappointing quote-unquote stars. I don't know if Randall's in that category currently. And they had Randall as their second most disappointing star in the NBA this year. I couldn't remember who's number 1, but Randall was number 2. And Chase, outside of a recent, pretty solid stretch over the last couple of weeks,
I mean, the numbers have been down across the board. I know you've really been on him about the attitude and the body language concerns. This is not what they paid for.
No.
This is not what the Knicks signed up for when they gave him that 4-year, $120 million extension.
Too much ISO ball. It's too much on the offensive end of him just trying to break down his defender one-on-one off the dribble, and he doesn't have a wide array of moves for him to be successful in that regard when he's playing with that style. I like Julius Randle. What he was able to do after the All-Star break last year was phenomenal. I thought he was a legitimate MVP candidate in the back half of last year. There's a big reason why he won Most Improved Player. He was great. But this year, his numbers have fallen off a cliff. He hasn't been the same player. And the Knicks as a team just aren't the same team. And Tom Thibodeau has really struggled to get this team going from the start of the year up until now. And in free agency, you thought they made a bunch of moves to round out this roster. They didn't have a star, but they had a bunch of other solid players led by Julius Randle. But it's been a disappointing year for him. You look at the shooting splits, numbers down a lot. Field goal percentage down 11 points, 12 points from beyond the arc, which is crazy. Points per game down by about 5. Rebounds about the same. But the point here being the eye test really does tell the story, Harrison. Hasn't been the same player. He's been up and down. He's been sporadic. He's been inefficient and inconsistent. And that's not a recipe for success when you're supposed to be the number one guy. I will say this. RJ Barrett the last couple of weeks has really, really impressed me, especially off the dribble with his aggressiveness. I think there's something there. I think he can become a star.
Yeah, as far as Julius goes, like I said, this just isn't what they paid for. I mean, when you max a guy out, I'm not going to sit here and say I expected Julius to have, literally the same season he had a year ago, but they paid for him to be consistent. They paid for him to bring it every night. They paid for him to be a leader, and he's been none of that. He's been inconsistent. He's been erratic. The jump shot has gone away. This was one of the best isolation players in the NBA last year, and he can't make a bucket consistently right now. It's been tough to watch, and, you had that whole incident at the Garden where he's yelling at the fans. They're yelling at him. He gives them the thumbs down. I mean, that was a bad look. I mean, you know what you sign up for when you play in New York. I mean, this is just how it goes. And, I think a big thing with athletes, Chase, is how are you going to handle adversity?
Yeah.
And I don't think he's handled adversity well at all this year. And that's been a problem. And that is a problem moving forward because you got 3 years and about $90 million left on this contract. And, that's why there's been, some trade buzz. Do you move him this offseason? And, 12 months can change a lot of things. And things have changed quickly when it comes to the New York Knicks.
Yeah, there's what you said on top of the fact that he's the highest paid player on the Knicks. When that is the case, you are the face of the franchise. You're supposed to be the leader. So when the leader of a basketball team has bad body language, when their attitude is subpar, when they're going after assistant coaches, when they're not even involved in team huddles, when they're on the phone at the dais during the press conference, that's not good enough. That's not the example that you're trying to set when you're the franchise player. So Randle has to be better in that way. You were paid as a superstar. And yes, I understand you're frustrated with how this year has gone, but you have to operate a little bit better if you're Julius Randle. And I don't think that, his attitude has been good enough at the end of the day, Harrison. I understand being frustrated. There's no doubt about that. But look, you just have to carry yourself in a different manner when you're the highest paid player on the team.
And look,
in New York, when all eyes are always on you.
Yeah, and I get, you start losing, the losses stack up, you're going to get frustrated. I'm not saying you're never allowed to show frustration. I'm saying this thing, it's like they lost 3-4 games in a row earlier in the year and they just never recovered. That can't happen. You cannot let one loss become 2. You can't let 3 losses become 5. And this thing's just piled up. I mean, Chase, they're 12 games, 13 games under 500 now. I mean, they're not even a threat to make the play-in tournament after being the 4 seed last year. And, it's just unfortunate to see how this is all played out. I guess, the one bright side is you got 3 more years on this contract. There's time for this to turn around. But for this year, feels like a lost year for the New York Knicks. What do you guys think? Do you still believe in Julius Randle? Can he get this turned around in the long term? Type B for believe, type D for don't. I know this, Chase. Knicks fans, they've been waiting a long time to be relevant, and they sniffed just a little bit of success last year, and they were lit for it, and now they're frustrated once again. We got some Knicks St. Patrick's Day gear on sale. Chatsports.com/Knicks Green. Get the sweet t-shirt. There's some other gear over there as well. Link in the comments, link in the description. And hey, if nothing else, throw this on. Go drink on St. Patty's Day to drown your sorrows after this Knicks season. All right, who's going to win the MVP this year? Then we're going to go ahead and sign off here. We got a couple shout-outs. And 3 likes away from 60, so we didn't get there. So no chugging. I said when the segment was over,
Listen,
Sam. I got to be a man of principle here. Okay?
What are we at, 58?
57.
57. I mean, I think I could argue that if we get 3 more people to like the video here just in 20 seconds while we get these votes in, I think that's enough.
I mean,
but I'm not you, Harrison, so I don't know.
It's.
I'm already chugging.
I mean, we first said the next 30 seconds.
We've
then
had
we
so
said,
many loyal viewers watching us all
I'll chug
day.
the rest of this. We're at
Can't
59.
be scared.
There it is, 62. Thank you, loyal viewers. There you go.
I mean,
there are worse.
They had
things
10
to chug.
minutes. You know,
there are worse things to chug.
Drink in hand says, "I will chug too."
That's right. Drink in
That's
hand.
a real one right there. All right. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate Sam for producing this thing. He's Chase. I'm Harrison. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, check us out on Rumble.
Yes.
Rumble.com/NBA now. More NBA news and rumors content over there. Let's get the follower count up in the future. If we get enough followers, we can do some exclusive content on Rumble, so be on the lookout for that. He's Chase. I'm Harrison. We're signing off. We'll see you guys next week here on Any Given Thursday.
See ya.